OutKick.com. Now, normally I wouldn't even want to like give them a click, but I'm gonna give them a click because they did enough for my attention to be grabbed by how literally they doing exactly what, again, it comes right back to last week. They doing exactly what Kwame was talking about. And as athletes, we all know that they do this shit. But this is exactly what people like Kwame Brown were talking about. This right here. Greg Couch, 4 days ago. Naomi Osaka is just a diva now. She could have meant so much more. She was going to be the face of women's sports, tennis's transition from Serena Williams, and a social justice warrior. Instead, well, she's full of BS, just like so many others who made too much money, became too famous too fast, became too full of themselves, and lost touch with reality. On Wednesday, Osaka posted on Instagram that she was not going to talk to the reporters during the upcoming French Open. I get it. The media are annoying, particularly the tennis media, who gush and idolize players. So what was her reasoning? I've often felt that people have no regard for athletes' mental health. And this rings very true whenever I see press conferences or partake in one. She wrote, "Wait, what?" This is Exhibit A. This is somebody who, for one, don't know a goddamn thing about Naomi Osaka. Clearly. He's calling her a diva. He clearly don't know this woman. Okay, your opinion, but it's stupid, in my opinion. So, she could have meant so much more. Wow, that just sounds so condescending because I know from reading this thing thus far, it feels like he doesn't really mean that. He doesn't really mean that. She's going to be the face of women's sports. Tennis is transition. She's already that. She already been that since 2018, my friend. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. But he immediately throws into doubt in his mind anything that she has said simply because she said that she was not going to speak with the press during her time at the French Open. And he admits here, I get it. The media are annoying, particularly the tennis media who gush and idolize players. So in this small sentence here, he even acknowledges that that media in particular is a different kind of media. So he's actually acknowledging that the tennis media is a far more aggressive, much more of an intrusion into that player from a psychological standpoint in how they deal with them. I mean, look, I think about people like Serena Williams, and on her end, she dealt with a lot of shit from the media because people, pundits made comments about her that were fucking totally uncalled for. Like totally uncalled for. In this situation, Naomi was kind of the opposite of Serena, and that's what drew all this media to her, and that's where they kind of started to idolize her because they felt like she was the good girl, the one who does everything the way we want it, and she's doing what she's being told. That's why they idolized her. Because she represented in their eyes, and when I say in their eyes, I'm speaking of the major tennis media, the major tennis governing bodies of their tournaments and all of that. They looked at her as the good little soldier. That's what they see her as. But that's not the case. She is her own individual person who clearly is a more introverted type than Serena. That's an easy thing to see at first glance. And regardless of that, she still is a person who is not, she is proven here that she is a person who is not going to ignore when she has a problem. Because the good little soldier, you know what the good little soldier does? The good little soldier does what he's told. The good little soldier does what she's told. The good little soldier ignores their own pain and their own problems to to serve the machine. Now, in football, that is somewhat a part of the game because you have other people who are dependent on you. You have other people who are dependent on you, but even then, when it gets to a point where it affects you on the field, where it could affect you on the field, even people on your team will tell you, don't you go out there and play a game the way and at the level we play it. Don't you go out there if you do not think you can go out there. If you know in your heart you're too hurt or something's wrong, don't go out there. You know who that reminds me of? That reminds me of Big John Henderson. Big shout out to John Henderson. I love that man. He was a teammate in Jacksonville. Big John Henderson was a staple of our defense in Jacksonville. And this was during, some good years. A playoff run. 3 close, playing in the last week to get into the playoffs 3 years in a row after that. And Big John, and look, I won't even, I'm obviously, he had something personal going on, and I will not speculate because I didn't know, and none of us on the team really knew what was going on. They talked about it in the media because he left the team. He left the team for weeks. He left the team I don't even remember. I think he left the team for damn near the whole season. But it was a big deal in football, in the NFL. It was a big deal because he was a well-known player in the NFL. This is a guy who'd already been to the Pro Bowl multiple times. This is a guy who was one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. It was him and Albert Haynesworth. It was him and Albert Haynesworth who came out of University of Tennessee and were considered these, unbelievable specimens at defensive tackle. And Big John was gone, and none of us knew why. None of us knew why. None of us asked why. We just gave him our support. He was one of our best players on defense. We gave him our support. We didn't ask why he was gone, even though we kind of could speculate because we kind of had a small idea, but it was not our place to make any assumptions about John Henderson. So we did not. We supported our teammate. We wished him, to get well and to get back when he can. Not because he's a part of our team that he should be here and he's selfish if he's not here. See how that works? That's a team environment. This is an individual. And they're going to say she's a diva. She's a diva because she decided to take care of her own over motherfuckers who are making billions off of her. What's millions to a billionaire? Nothing. Come on, man. Come on. That's madness. That's madness to look at that situation and come to the conclusion Naomi Osaka is just a diva now. But hey, we got more. Because in this article here, with the same guy, Greg Couch, the next day, he says Naomi Osaka coming across as if she doesn't want to address real issue. If Naomi Osaka is struggling with her mental health, then that's what she should have said. That would be helpful. That would have been powerful, especially coming from someone celebrated as a strong woman and the world's most prominent female athlete. That's how I'd always seen her. Reading this shit, it don't sound like he believes that one bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know he's lying here, but it sounds that way. It sounds disingenuous, but because these phrases are phrases that I've heard, used in a condescending manner plenty. Anyways. But that's not what she said this week in announcing that she's going to boycott the press during the French Open. She never said she was going to boycott. I just read you guys the message. She said she wasn't going to do, but she did not use the word boycott. Using the word boycott is an instant buzzword that is meant to actually produce a certain kind of feeling about the person that's being talked about. One of tennis's major championships. What she said was that the media are bullies. Let's hold on. Maybe I missed something. We often sat there and asked questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or asked questions that bring doubts into our minds, and I'm just not going to subject myself to people that doubt me. Did she say bullies? Did she say that the media is bullies anywhere? The media makes athletes answer the same question over and over. The media now he quotes her. The media have no regard for athletes' mental health, and this rings very true whenever I see a press conference or partake in one. Osaka didn't say that she's having mental health issues. What she said was that the media are perpetuating mental health issues in athletes. She took it on as a cause. This is bigger than a typical blame the media issue. I wrote about this here yesterday, criticizing Osaka for hijacking the important issue of mental health when her case doesn't fit that at all. How the fuck would you know? Mr. Couch? How would you know? This is the problem with the media. This is the problem with the media. How would you know what is going on in her daily life? Do you live with her? Are you in her head? But you're sure making a lot of presumptions about who she is without having any actual real knowledge of her life, of her daily life. Who the fuck are you to even go there? That's the problem that I have. Doesn't matter who the fuck they are. Psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is not going to diagnose someone by watching them on TV. This is disingenuous journalism. That's what this is. But let's continue reading it. At least not based on what she said. It took off on Twitter with what I'd guess to be a 60-40 split in favor of what I'd written. Oh, so it's about you now. It's about you? It's not about her, it's about you, proving that you're right about her. But you don't know the woman. You haven't sat down and actually evaluated her in a medical setting. I don't give a fuck what PhDs or what degrees you have. No doctor is going to diagnose somebody with cancer if he ain't done a test and actually sat down with that person and went through the steps to actually give a diagnosis. So who the fuck are you to come on here in the online realm and put out an article as if you know a person, as if you have the actual power and know-how to diagnose a person based on an Instagram post or Twitter post? Come on. You're insulting your reader's intelligence. And you're hiding behind your credentials to give it credibility. But you don't know her. Come on, man. We all of us see psychiatrists. Fuck out of here with that. Anyways, continue. But the response against my argument was mostly angry people saying I shouldn't attack someone who was standing up for mental health issues. This was among the legitimate responses anyway. That was among the legitimate responses anyways. Others include people saying I don't like her because she's a strong black woman. Condescending. I am the one standing up for mental health issues here. Oh, it's about you again. You're the one standing up for it, not her. Okay. Osaka isn't. I'm calling for her to represent a strong black woman athlete as she always had before. But this time she isn't. You see, this is the game. This is the language game that a psychiatrist would play. This is the language game that a psychiatrist plays with people who they view as patients to try and lead and guide their thought processes. That's what's happening right here as we speak, reading this. Ha! That's crazy because I'm a psychology major and that literally brought me back to my psychology class. This is literally trying to guide the reader into a specific zone, a specific realization based on their perspective, based on their own narrative. This is a narrative that you're being literally, psychologically, I would say assaulted with, because this is indoctrination is a little bit different. This is like them trying to this is like an attack on somebody who comes into this neutrally, not really having any real thought on this particular topic. And this is literally hitting all of the triggers in your brain that guide you into different thought processes, into seeing things from a different way, having a different opinion. This is it right here. This is it. Masquerading as sports journalism. Fuck out of here. What she did was trivialize the serious issue of mental health struggles that people really have now. She was equating her desire not to answer media questions with people who have serious diseases that make it hard to live their lives. People who have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. So he knows whether or not she has a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Does your boss know whether you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning? I'm sure there's plenty of you that do. I have at points in my life. I absolutely have. So, who the fuck would be somebody who could you respect if they told you that you weren't feeling what you was feeling because they saw you a video of you on Facebook or on your Instagram and they say, oh no. If your boss saw a video of you, talking about your struggle for the day on your Facebook or on your Instagram, and when you tried to tell your boss that you couldn't come into work because you wasn't feeling well, and your boss told you you're full of shit, come to work, what would your reaction be? Because that's essentially how this entire story about her, not this article, fuck the article, this is a psychological fucking exercise to try and push you into thinking how he thinks. But in general, how many people, if you look at this entire situation, how many people could say that she hasn't at the very least tried to communicate that she was dealing with an issue mentally? I think anyone who looks at this you have to acknowledge her expressing that she's having an issue. She tried to put it out in a very coy way in her first message. She didn't want to say it directly. In her message withdrawing from the tournament, she said it directly. If you want to hate on that, that's on you. Like, anybody who wants to take it any other way than how she's presenting it, because it's her life and it's her losing the money. It's her who got fined. It's her who's not going to compete for that championship. That's like saying I'm not going, that's like saying if you're in the Super Bowl that 3 days before the game, you say you're not going to play in it because you got mental health issues. You know how hard of a decision that is for a person to make? You may never be in that position again in your life. And you're walking away from it. Who does that if they're lying, if they're just taking up a cause, if they're being disingenuous?